Hey guys, so if you've consumed any metal media in the last couple of weeks, you might see that it's been impossible to not encounter Draugveil and President. These are new acts. Draugveil got infamous on the internet for having a very meme-worthy, embarrassing album cover that lampooned what black metal is, and President got really big because it has a very polished sound akin to something like a sleep token, and they wear masks, which adds to the anonymity of the project. That hooks listeners because they want to take the time to figure out who the person is, especially if they sound as produced as President does. But because these things got huge overnight, there's people that are saying, "Oh, these must be industry plants." And instead of looking at it like that, well, I mean, if you're gonna look at it like that, you have to acknowledge what you mean by industry. Because what I would bring to the table for this argument is that everything you're seeing and hearing on the internet is an industry plant. It's there because someone decided that it would be there for you to interact with. Stuff just doesn't show up regardless of who's producing it unless someone was paid to put it in front of your eyes. And I can tell you that with certainty because I've done it myself with a recent record that I just put out, and it is not working in my favor. So instead of talking about Draugveil and President, which, as you can imagine, are pretty terrible, I kind of wanted to give my insight as to what it's like to hire PR companies and hope that you get a little bit of recognition. For this most recent record that I did, I put it out about a month ago. I enlisted 3 different PR companies because I'm salaried, I'm very busy, I don't have time to sell myself on the internet. If you follow the channel, you'll know I'm a very honest person. I find the salesmanship aspect of self-promotion to be very fake. And I know you have to do it. You have to commit to the hustle, but it's not for me. It never has. I've always enlisted the same companies before with previous records. I've been way more successful before. I attribute that to a lot of different things. But I'm not a salesperson. I acknowledge people's time, especially now that I'm getting way less time myself to work on anything. I know that asking people to give me the 14 minutes of their day, as trivial as that sounds, is actually a big commitment. You know, people don't sit down and get lost in records anymore, and I think that it's a big ask. Let me fix that. It's a big ask for anyone to just be like, stop what you're doing and listen to my fucking record. So I enlisted 3 different PR companies to do it for me. And after maybe a month and a couple of weeks, I reached out to the one and I asked, how's it going? I haven't been really seeing any hits. They're supposed to get you like reviews, interviews, the whole 9 yards. Got a couple of hits off blogs that'll never be read. Essentially, a lot of them ended up regurgitating the press release. So that tells me they didn't actually listen to the record. And in the email response I got, he had said, the campaign's essentially ended. We've tried sending it out. We've tried emailing, and either people are not biting or they're saying they do not want to cover it. And that is definitely frustrating because I don't know what else to do. So essentially that record, unless I push it organically on this channel, is going to be dead in the water. And I never wanted to make this channel about what I produce. Believe it or not, when I dunk on a band on this channel, it's not because I'm just upset with how I feel like I've lost my time being served inferior art, but I think it's wasting your time too. And I know that because I can produce something that I think has a objective artistic value to it, that there's a lot of other people like me that most likely are not getting heard because of the roadblocks after PR companies try to get it heard. I'm not going to shit on the PR companies I hired at all. I understand that the people that they're trying to sell it to just don't want to go with it. And if you're going to call me a gatekeeper, those are the real gatekeepers. They are going to decide whether or not you hear or see what I've produced. That's way worse than me standing in the way of people wanting to consume shitty metal and just being like, no, check this out instead. That's way worse. So there's a lot of reasons why they could have said no. I'm not gonna say that there's not the possibility that the record is just bad and that they that it doesn't belong to any particular genre where they would want to cover it. They don't want to take the risk of giving their ad space to something that isn't going to get them clicks. It's all about exchanges. And if you want to take that risk on my record, what do you get in return? Not a whole lot. So I get it. And it's pretty frustrating. I've had a lot of people on this channel that disagree with me say you're just a failed musician. And if you're going to say something like that, you have to analyze the idea that what you deem to be success is not what the person you're criticizing does. And for me, success was never about the delusion of playing huge shows and having a huge following or being able to not work. Like, those are all fucking ridiculous concepts. I grew up, I was born in the 80s, grew up into metal in the early 90s, and I never once considered the idea that it could be my job. But I think young people really think that you are only a success if you can make it your living, and I would never want that, as stated before in my Archspire video. But if you wanted to call me a failed musician now, this is the most I've ever felt like that, because I just can't get it heard, despite trying to enlist other people to do it as their job to get it heard. It's not happening. And like I said, I never wanted to make this channel about me, but the only way I can get any traction now is to ask you guys to check it out. But you know that I'm not a salesman. You know that I'm an honest person, so that's hard for me to do. But I don't want to give up on this record. I think that I put a lot into it, and I'm at the point right now where the question of, like, if a tree falls in the woods and no one's there to hear it, did it make a sound? Well, I put a lot of fucking effort into getting that tree cut, and right now it doesn't make a sound because it's not able to be heard. And when I think about what it does offer, it's got its own novelty to it. I don't want to explain the record to you guys, because if you have to explain your art, you've provided something that can't stand on its own merit. But I will say that as a comprehensive piece, storyline, and approach, I think it's got a lot to offer if someone were to give their 14 minutes. So if you want to help me out, I will give a link to the record down below. And believe me, it's very humbling to ask you guys to do that. I don't like having to do it, but I'm at the point where I am fucking lucky enough to almost have 1,000 people to listen what this old windbag has to say. I might as well give it a shot. So this is your chance. If you're pissed off about what I said about fucking Death or another band you like, check this fucking record out. Give me your 14 minutes and take a shit all over me. It's cool. Do what you got to do. But maybe you'll like it too. Maybe you'll like it and not want to admit it. Maybe you'll like it and want to admit it. Either way, I think it deserves better than to be ignored. So instead of focusing on whether or not a band like Draugveil or President is put under the microscope of the entire metal media because it's an industry plant, think about the artists that cannot get heard because assuredly people are pushing things like them and everything else you have on your plate in the first place. So I've always been a DIY type of person. I think that because of the inundation of how things are, it is a double-edged sword that I can make a record and make it pretty cheaply, have it sound pretty decent, and get it to you guys. We didn't have that a while ago, but now everybody can do it. Everybody can produce their record. I'm sure that when I send my shit to a PR company, they got a stack of one-man black metal projects that, they have to get through first. So I am not surprised at what's going on now. But I hope that gives you a little bit of insight as to what it's like to actually be an independent artist trying to make themselves get heard. And again, maybe the record's terrible, maybe it's one whatever you want it to be, but in a sea of Draugveils and presidents, it offers something they don't, which is honesty. So check out the link. Excuse me. Check out the link. Let me know what you think. Engage with it. I'll also probably host it on the channel so that more people can engage with it. Once again, thank you for your time listening to me speak, and hopefully listening to my music. And there will be more to come. Thank you.